Today we're checking out another projector, this time the K9 by WiMiUS. I want to thank them for sending this over to review on the channel. I'll leave a link down below with current pricing and more information. This one actually runs on Linux with over 7,000 apps, so you can watch stuff like YouTube, Netflix, Prime Video, and so on. It also supports Dolby audio. It's got autofocus and 60 Keystone correction. It's got native 1080p resolution at 60 Hz refresh rate. It's also fully sealed, which should help it keep dust away from getting inside the projector. Also has Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth as well. It's going to work best on a screen up to 150 inches at about 13 feet. Also supports Dolby audio. Also has a wireless dongle, sort of looks like a Chromecast for screencasting. HDMI cable is included. Pretty typical power cable. Looks like a little bit bigger remote control than what I typically see with projectors. It's got several shortcuts up here at the top, directional arrows, OK button, home, menu, back button. You've got your volume, autofocus, and numbers down here below. Pretty simple design, just a power button there on the top. It's got some fabric there on the front, gold accents. You've got your autofocus and remote control sensor. Overall, it definitely looks pretty nice compared to some other projectors I've looked at. You've got some ventilation on each side. Looks like a removable filter. Surprisingly, this one also has an Ethernet port, 2 USB ports, 2 HDMI ports, and a headphone jack. This one also has an adjustable foot there on the bottom. And you've got threads there in the middle if you want to use a tripod or to mount this to a ceiling. Once you get the projector hooked up, you'll notice it's got pretty good brightness. You could probably even use it with all the lights turned on, but of course it's gonna look better once you turn the lights off. The setup process is pretty straightforward by choosing language, region. You can also set up the Wi-Fi connection now, or you can do that later in the settings menu. Of course, if you're using Ethernet, you don't need to mess with that. On the home screen, you've got shortcuts to your apps like Netflix, YouTube, and so on. It also has directions on how to use screencast and home share from your mobile devices. You can see your inputs there at the top. And then in settings, you've got things like picture mode, audio, Bluetooth, network, projection, Keystone, zoom, and focus. There's quite a few things that you can adjust and set up like language, time, screensaver, sleep timer, auto sleep, and this is where you can update or do a factory reset as well. You also have different picture modes to choose from, although I feel like the default settings look pretty good as is. You can also adjust the audio a little bit. You can raise and lower the bass and treble to your liking. Under projection is your orientation or how you have the projector mounted. Nice thing is you can choose whether to have the auto Keystone correction on or off, and you can adjust the 4-point Keystone correction manually to get things dialed in. You can also zoom out to 50% if you need to. You can also choose between autofocus or do it manually from right here in the menu or on the remote control as well. To me, the best part about this projector is going to be the screen quality, especially for a projector in this category. It seems to be in focus pretty much across the entire screen, which is always good to see. It's got nice contrast, seems plenty bright enough for indoor use. You can also connect to your favorite streaming device instead of using the built-in apps. It's probably hard to tell from this video, but in person, I feel like this is probably one of the better projectors that I've tested recently. I might have to compare this to a couple of others because it's getting really close between this one and some of the best ones that I've tested. One advantage this projector might have over some of the others is the built-in audio, which sounds really nice and loud. I don't think most people will have to turn this up past 50% in most cases. It might be hard to tell from the video, but here's a quick sample just to give you an idea of what it sounds like.
But I know you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away, as you fade away.
Also, if you need to use this for presentations, yes, it can do that with no problems. Text is nice and sharp on here as well. And you can even connect an iPad with an HDMI adapter if needed, so you won't have to worry about a Wi-Fi connection. I also tested out some gaming on here and playing Asphalt 9 from my iPad using a Bluetooth controller. Surprisingly, there wasn't hardly any lag or delay that I noticed, which is usually a pretty good sign. I also played Punch-Out on my Super Nintendo Mini, and it was fairly smooth on here as well. So this could be a good option for gaming. Obviously, depending on which games you do. I know the one game that usually is a little bit harder for some projectors to play smoothly is Rocket League on my Xbox Series X. Surprisingly though, it's fairly smooth without much lag or delay. Now it's not going to compete against a gaming PC, but for some faster paced games, I think it's going to perform better than you would think on a projector in this category. Just the overall picture quality and the built-in sound definitely makes this one of the better projectors that I've tested. Like I said earlier, I may have to do a comparison with this versus some of those other top projectors I've tested, but I can tell already this one is definitely going to be towards the top of the list.